bottled water is consumed all across the UTM campus. In 2009, UTM students purchased 45,000 bottles of water. But did you know where bottled water actually comes from? 650 million bottled waters are still being thrown in Ontario landfills every year, despite most municipalities having the ability to recycle the bottles. Only 35% of bottles are actually recycled. The global bottled water sale has grown dramatically over the past several decades, reaching a value of over $60 billion and over 115 million liters of water in 2006. Nationally, Canadians spent about $1.8 billion on bottled water in 2010. On campus, we spent approximately $67,000 and $500 on bottled water in 2009. UTM students spent approximately 405 times more per liter of bottled water purchased compared to if they brought the water from home. That's a lot of money. The leading brands of bottled water that we see in our vending machines here at UTM are produced using municipal water sources in cities like Mississauga and Brampton. But what happens once we drink that water? We took a trip to the Region of Peel's Integrated Waste Management Facility to find out. The Material Recovery Facility has a capacity to process 130,000 tons of blue box material per year. The Waste Transfer Station is approved to transfer up to 100,000 tons of waste per year. And finally, the Organic Composting Plant has the capacity to process 60,000 tons of organic material annually. What does this all add up to? Well, the total is 290,000 tons of waste material every year, of which plastic bottled water makes up 10 to 15%. The Integrated Waste Management Facility has the capacity to retain 65% of the material that ends up there. That means they're diverting 65% of recyclable material, including plastic bottles, from ending up in the landfill. There is a misconception that bottled water is cleaner than tap water. In fact, your tax dollars ensure that the Region of Peel tap water, which goes to your homes and the fountains here at UTM, is clean and of high quality. We sat down with Mark Schiller, a water quality analyst at the Region of Peel, to find out more.
Well, Region of Peel tap water, as you can see from some of the facilities you've been through today, we're using the state-of-the-art treatment technology in the world right now. We're using ozone in combination with bacteriological activated carbon and polishing it off with membrane filtration. You're not going to get much better treatment processes than what we have here in Peel. Bottled water definitely has its purpose in the industry, but our testing here is heavily regulated and very rigorous. Check for chlorine, we check for turbidity and a few other parameters, but you can rest assured that somewhere in that distribution around the University of Toronto campus, we've done sampling 2 or 3 times a week already. It's certainly safe to drink water from any drinking water fountain. However, our health department does recommend that they change the old standard taps that have typically been known for water fountains and replace them with a gooseneck. So you can't drink from them specifically, but at least you can fill up a water bottle. Well, bottled water has been popular for many years now, and I think a lot of it is public perception. They really don't know the level of treatment that goes into providing municipal tap water. And there's been situations like Walkerton where public reassurance needs to be reestablished. Well, certainly drinking tap water is much better for the environment. Bottled water basically comes in a plastic container, and it's how do you get rid of all that plastic at the end.
So what does Aquafina and Dasani do with their water?
Well, generally Coke and Pepsi, they will take their water, they'll take municipal tap water, they'll put it through reverse osmosis to strip out all the minerals, and then they'll remineralize it for flavor. There's other bottled water companies that take it directly from the source and put it into a bottle. So there's a couple of different types in the industry, but typically the big manufacturers are using a very safe supply already, being municipal tap water.
How much does the region of Peel tap water cost to the individual? Well, the region of Peel, we pay 0.007 cents per liter of tap water. But when we buy from the vending machines, we often pay $3 per liter. If you do the math, that means we're paying 405 times as much for bottled water per liter than we do for tap water. However, the interesting part is companies are paying about 1 cent per bottled water. You do the math. A group in the Environment 232 class recently studied the water fountain infrastructure on campus. We caught up with them to understand the issues they discovered with fountains on campus.
Well, I learned that bottled water is classified as a food and therefore falls under the FDA equivalent, or the Canada's FDA equivalent, and is not as stringent with the regulations as public drinking water is. The main issue that I discovered was how regulation differs from bottled water and public drinking water. Bottled water falls under the FDA equivalent of Canada's Food and Drug Administration, and they essentially can just take water straight from the stream, put it in a bottle, and say it's natural springs water. They're not obligated to disclose their source, whereas public drinking water goes through rigorous testing and must meet certain standards before it can be released to the public. We found difficulty getting water quality analysis information from private companies such as Pepsi and Coca-Cola. They were a bit reluctant to release that information. The first part of the survey was to determine students' water consumption behavior while on campus. So we tried to get an idea of where their source of water was coming from, if they were bringing it from home, if they were buying water bottles on campus, if they were using the drinking fountains at all. The second part of the survey was to identify their perception of UTM's current drinking fountain infrastructure in terms of cleanliness, accessibility, locations, the water quality itself, and we compared their perception of that to water quality of water bottles.
So what are your recommendations after conducting your project?
We recommend that in all new buildings that are being developed on the UTM campus, that these refill stations be included in their design, as well as work towards retrofitting all old drinking fountains on campus. The other recommendation was to create an awareness among the UTM students about the misconceptions of public drinking water quality versus privatized bottled water.
Well, as with any other issue that involves food or anything we put in our bodies, there's a lot of emotions around it. I wish the debate was a bit more rational, but I think deep down, as with anything related to food, it's mostly about emotion. And what I would hope instead would be that the facts and economic logic would be. On the other end, there will probably be more stories like Walkerton, which will give an incentive to people to doubt the quality of the water that they're drinking. So I think that bottled water has been around for actually centuries, if not thousands of years. The issue is not going to go away, and it will probably only become more important. People could not trust the water supply that was near them. I mean, big cities like London or Paris were built alongside what are, by European standards, large rivers. But obviously these rivers were very polluted with animal excrements. People did not have a sewage system in those days. So water was actually being delivered privately to many cities. You go to many countries today, you still cannot rely on the local water supply. So when I travel to, let's say, India or Pakistan, as I have in the last few years, I just don't drink tap water. I mean, I do drink bottled water. I don't know. I mean, perhaps students sincerely believe that the water tastes better. I mean, perhaps they think that Dasani is actually spring water when it's not. It's just like, tap water that has been treated a little bit, oxygenated a little bit. I don't know, it might be a perception of taste, but I think in the end it's all a matter of perception. You buy a bottle of water, you think it's cleaner, it's better quality, but in the end, as far as I can tell, and I'm obviously not a chemist, I don't see the need for it and I don't drink it. And I think that, as far as I'm concerned, it's a waste of money. But on the other hand, if the alternative is not drinking tap water, but drinking soft drinks, I'd rather have them stick to bottled water.
This documentary was a learning experience. During the process, we as a group learned that bottled water costs a lot more than what companies pay for. It is unfortunate that many are misled into thinking that bottled water is cleaner and safer than tap water, when this is not the case. We hope that through education, more people will learn that they are paying far more for something that they already have. We hope to see UTM a bottled water-free campus and in turn save the environment from extra unnecessary waste.
Our tap water is regulated like Rohit said, which means that it's going to constantly go under testing. A lot of water bottle companies actually get their water from the same source as municipalities. So a lot of bottled water out there that you go to pay $2 for is the same water that you get at home in your taps. And people don't know that. It's generally the same quality of water. Why would you pay for something you get for free? We don't understand it.
Okay, and how many bottles did you guys give away, or do you guys have?
We've been here since 10:40 this morning. It was a 2-hour event. We gave away 1,250 bottles.
Wow.
Free! Free!